Years had passed since her last encounter with the undead, yet something inside her whispered that evil never truly sleeps. Her son, Alex O'Connell, now a seasoned archaeologist, followed closely behind with a map covered in strange runic markings. They were not here for treasure or fame. They sought to uncover an artifact known as the Heart of Set. Legend claimed it could resurrect even gods who had long been erased from mortal memory. A local guide named Amir led them through a narrow canyon filled with ancient carvings and forgotten hieroglyphs. Each symbol told of a dark god buried beneath shifting dunes, cursed by Anubis himself for defying the balance of death. As night began to fall, the group pitched their tents beside a ruined obelisk cracked by centuries of relentless wind. The desert fell silent except for the faint whistling of air through the stones, like the breath of a ghost long forgotten. Before dawn, Alex discovered something half-buried near the campsite, a black, triangular tablet made of shimmering obsidian. Its surface pulsed faintly as if it possessed a heartbeat, sending an icy chill through his fingertips. Evelyn's scholarly curiosity battled with the dread that crept into her mind like a serpent through dry sand. She recognized the inscriptions immediately. They spoke of Fraser, the high priest of shadows, cursed for stealing the sun's power. The tablet was said to be a key, unlocking the tomb of the eternal deceiver who once ruled both life and death. Rick O'Connell, Evelyn's fearless husband, arrived unexpectedly that morning. Another vacation gone wrong? He joked, though his eyes betrayed the same uneasy feeling the others could not ignore. They followed the map to a hidden valley veiled in black sand that shimmered unnaturally beneath the blazing sunlight. Amir's compass spun wildly, refusing to find north, and the air grew thick with the scent of ancient incense. At the heart of the valley, half buried beneath the dunes, stood a colossal statue of Set with its head missing. A deep fissure at its base revealed the entrance to a forgotten temple sealed since the reign of the pharaohs. Evelyn traced her fingers over the carvings, whispering softly, "He who opens the gate must bear the weight of eternity." Ignoring the warning, Alex pressed the obsidian tablet into a slot carved into the statue's chest. The ground trembled violently as sand poured into the fissure, revealing a spiraling staircase leading deep underground. One by one, they descended, torches flickering against the walls painted with scenes of sacrifice and celestial war. The deeper they went, the colder it became, until their breaths turned to mist and every sound echoed endlessly. At the bottom lay a massive chamber filled with towering sarcophagi, each bound in blackened bronze chains. In the center rested an ornate coffin, larger than the rest, wrapped in golden seals that glowed faintly in the torchlight. Evelyn realized too late that the seals were not meant to protect the treasure, but to contain the darkness within. Before she could stop him, Alex reached out and brushed away the dust covering the hieroglyphs on the lid. A sudden gust of wind extinguished their torches, plunging the chamber into suffocating darkness. Rick shouted for light, but the sound of his voice seemed swallowed by the ancient walls themselves. When the flames returned, Amir was gone, leaving only his torn scarf lying beside a trail of black sand. The coffin's seals had cracked, releasing a low, guttural whisper that slithered across the floor like smoke. A voice echoed in their minds, deep, cold, and commanding, promising them eternal glory for a single drop of blood. The bronze chains rattled violently before shattering completely, sending fragments flying across the shadowy chamber. From within the coffin, a hand wrapped in charred bandages slowly emerged, dripping black dust that hissed like acid. Fraser, the high priest of shadows, had awakened, his hollow eyes burning with an eerie violet flame. His voice was thunder and silk at once, ancient yet disturbingly human, as he whispered, "The light has betrayed you all." The ground split open beneath them, revealing rivers of molten, sand swirling with faces of the damned. Rick fired a volley of bullets, but each one turned to ash before it reached the creature's body. Evelyn shouted an incantation she remembered from the Book of the Dead, her trembling hands tracing the ancient symbols midair. The creature laughed, a sound that made the stones tremble and vanished into a cloud of black sand that filled the room. Alex grabbed his mother's hand, dragging her through the collapsing passageway as pillars crumbled and fire rained from above. They emerged into a different world. The desert sky had turned crimson and the dunes pulsed like living veins. Black sandstorms raged in the distance, and in the swirling wind, they could hear the whispers of ancient souls. Karis R.A. rose from the storm, his body fully restored, draped in obsidian armor adorned with glowing hieroglyphs. He raised his staff, summoning a legion of skeletal priests from beneath the dunes, their empty sockets glowing faintly blue. Rick reloaded, firing desperately as bones shattered but reassembled seconds later, crawling forward with horrifying determination. Evelyn realized that only sunlight could weaken the priest's dark form, but the sky was completely swallowed by the storm. Alex spotted the broken statue of Set half buried nearby, its missing head lying in fragments around the valley. He climbed onto the statue's chest, shouting for his father to aim at the hollow eyes of the fallen head. Rick fired, striking the fragment where the obsidian tablet had once been inserted, releasing a sudden burst of radiant light. Screaming, the mummy staggered backward as its armor melted into streams of burning liquid darkness. Evelyn recited the final line of the ancient spell, binding the high priest's soul back into the cursed tablet. The winds howled, sand spiraled upward like a cyclone, and with one final roar, the darkness collapsed into silence. The valley became still once more, the sky slowly returning to its natural pale gold. The black sand that once shimmered with death turned gray, lifeless, and scattered across the ground like ash. Evelyn knelt beside the shattered tablet, now cold and lifeless, its inscriptions glowing faintly before fading forever. The curse is over, he said softly, though his voice lacked the conviction of true relief. Evelyn turned toward him with weary eyes, whispering, "Curses never end, Alex. They only change their form." Rick... They laughed weakly, but the sound fell hollow beneath the vast emptiness of the awakening desert. Behind them, the last fragment of the tablet cracked open slightly, revealing a faint, purple flicker deep within. The wind picked up again, carrying whispers of the ancient priest's laughter across the desolate dunes. As the O'Connells walked away from the valley, the sun's light shimmered on something buried just beneath the sand. A golden eye opened briefly before closing again, waiting patiently for the next soul foolish enough to seek immortality.